this right. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on the Bottom Line Live. Every Thursday night, we talk about bookkeeping, our favorite subject. It's always bookkeeping. And tonight, we are going to talk about what are the red flags to look for on bookkeeping. It's really hard to know what to look for when you are not a bookkeeper. And I get asked that all the time. So let me share this into Wealth Dynamics group so those guys can see it too. And then we're going to do this. We're going to talk about bookkeeping red flags. What are the things you should look out for? And this is, again, this is something I get asked about all the time because people don't know. When you're not a bookkeeper, you don't know if your bookkeeping is good or not. So what should you be looking for? So I'm going to give you a brief summary, and I've kind of gone over this before about what things you should be looking for. I also want to do a quick reminder. Right now is September 1st. If you are an S-Corp, your taxes, or an LLC taxes and S-Corp, your taxes are due September 15, your corporate taxes, your LLC taxes and S-Corp taxes. If you are a sole proprietor or an LLC taxes sole proprietor, your taxes are due October 15, which I think is October 17 this year after the weekend or something. But basically, we are getting all of the last minute people who sent us stuff. We're getting it all out the door right now. If you came and wanted bookkeeping for 2021 right now, before the taxes are due, you're probably out of luck. Even people coming to me looking for CPAs to do their taxes right now for 2021. Whew, you guys really are leaving it to the last minute, and I don't know how many CPAs are going to take on new clients right this minute. It's a little tough. But I can give you some referrals. We can see if they're still willing to take anyone, but they're probably not, because they are trying to get their clients done, and they only have 2 weeks to get that done. So they're all a little kerfluffled, you might say. And if you call one, I mean, if they have a receptionist, you're okay. But if they don't have a receptionist, you might get yelled at. Just like, black box warning on calling a CPA if you don't have a CPA or you're trying to switch CPA right now. But what should you do if you don't have a CPA and you want to get your taxes filed on time so that you don't owe a late filing penalty? File your taxes with whatever you have and then just do an amendment. Most likely the amendment's going to be cheaper than the late filing penalty. I would say ask a CPA which one's cheaper. But if you really are trying to avoid the late filing penalty and the interest that comes with that, just file with what you have by the 15th. If you can't get it done by then file an amendment later. Especially if you think, like, I've had situations where somebody had their filed, or they had a CPA do their taxes or a tax preparer, and they don't think it's accurate and they want someone else to review it, or they don't feel that their refund is enough or right or whatever it is. I would say if you can't get it done by the 15th, which you might not be able to at this point, file with what you have and then just do an amendment later. That's going to be your safest bet. Not necessarily your cheapest, hopefully your cheapest, but definitely your safest. So good. We want to talk about bookkeeping red flags. Does anybody, before I get started on that, does anybody either in my Facebook Live or on the Zoom, does anybody have any questions about like taxes and things right now? Not yet. If you do have any questions, put them in the chat, and there are no stupid questions. So just put any questions in the chat. All right, good. So what are the things that you should look for? What are the red flags on bookkeeping? Okay, so let's say, first of all, biggest red flag, you have a bookkeeper, they're doing your bookkeeping every month, or they tell you they're doing your bookkeeping every month. And you are not getting a P&L and a balance sheet every month, or you're not getting at least a preliminary one. Like there may be situations where they need more information from you. We use this really cool app called Uncat, and we send clients, an invitation, and we say, please let us know what these things are that are uncategorized so we can finalize your reports. But here is a preliminary report based on the information we have so far. So we send that out to everybody by about the second week of the month. Sometimes I think at 18th, so sometimes that falls into the third week, but it's for, second or third week of the month, everybody has their profit and loss and balance sheet that we are doing monthly bookkeeping for. If you signed up as a quarterly bookkeeping client, then yeah, you're not going to get monthly reports. You're going to get them quarterly, and you'll get them probably about a month after the quarter ends. But if you have hired a bookkeeper and they aren't sending you, and they're supposed to be doing it monthly, that was what the engagement letter said, and they aren't sending you a profit and loss and balance sheet every month, that's a red flag, because I don't know what they're doing at that point. If you know what they're doing, then great. Like if they're, writing checks and paying your bills and doing your payroll and everything's going well, then great. But if you don't have any communication from them and you're not at least getting a P&L and balance sheet, that is, to me, that's how I let our clients know that we're doing the bookkeeping. Here's the reports, here's the updates, here's how we're working on your account. Because if we didn't send you that, how do you know what we're doing? So that is probably the biggest red flag. And sometimes I asked my bookkeeper for a P&L and it's been months. Now, if they've been doing your account for a long time and they can't provide a balance sheet and a P&L, that is pretty sad. There are cases, where we had a client, for instance, ask us for a 2021 P&L, and we weren't ready for that because we were waiting on information from them. There was some confusions. We needed meetings. So it took us a little bit longer to be able to provide a final 2021 P&L than what I would have liked. But we had the preliminary one done a long time ago. We have had every month for 2022 preliminary reports ready for them. So I could have sent them that, but I didn't yet have a finalized one. And there's CPAs chomping at the bit. So, obviously you have to apply some judgment. If you have, if you've been getting reports every month, or if they've been doing your bookkeeping for a year and you've never gotten a P&L, that bad sign, red flag. If, they've been your bookkeeper for 2 years and you've never gotten a P&L, or only when you ask for it, bad sign, red flag. Maybe it's not in their engagement letter to send you a P&L and a balance sheet. And so maybe you need to ask, but are you getting any communication from them? Because that's the next thing. We live in a digital age. People should be able to reply to your communication within 1 to 2 business days. We always reply within 1 business day. I'm not going to say we're never late, but I don't think it ever goes over 2 business days. Like right now, it's been a little crazy wrapping up 2021. I think we did answer some emails 2 days late. So, I didn't love that. Let's not do that again, team. But our company policy is that all emails and all communication gets answered within 1 business day, at least to say, absolutely, we'll get on that and give us a week or 2. Because sometimes it's a project and we need time, we need to schedule it in. But you shouldn't be wondering where your communication went. Is it in the ether? Like, no, someone needs to reply to you. I literally hired a customer service rep just to make sure that all clients felt cared for and they were all getting replied to, and any new ticket was made, assigned, and done in the time that we said. So if your bookkeeper is taking 2 to 3 weeks to reply to you each time and you're pulling your hair out and frustrated, I would say that's a red flag. I don't know about you. Maybe you like not having to talk to your bookkeeper for a month, but I think it's a red flag. You should be getting communication because they should be working on your books. So while if it's a sole bookkeeper, they're doing it by themselves, maybe it is hard to get to emails. Same with CPAs, right? They're doing it by themselves. Maybe it's hard to get to the emails when you're trying to be doing the actual bookkeeping and the actual tax work, but there still needs to be communication, because as a client, I know how frustrating it is to not get communication from a vendor. So that would be the 2 top red flags. Now, if you want to get down to the nitty gritty and you go and look in your books, what do you need to see in order to tell if your bookkeeping is being done? Now, first of all, in QuickBooks Online, if you go in the banking field, and again, this is assuming that your contract with your bookkeeper, your engagement letter, is that they're doing monthly bookkeeping. If you looked in your QuickBooks right now, for instance, it's September 1st. So there's no way that August is going to be done yet, most likely, but July should be fully done. There shouldn't be any transactions from July or prior sitting in the banking tab of QuickBooks Online. If there are, that's a red flag. If they're supposed to be doing monthly bookkeeping for you. And it could be that they're not a good bookkeeper, as far as like they did something and the transaction got kicked back into the banking field and they didn't know what to do with it, or they didn't notice, or they need more information from you, or they're just not up to date on your bookkeeping. But regardless of what it is, it's a red flag. It shouldn't be that way. Generally, like I said, by the 2nd or 3rd week of the month, your prior month's bookkeeping should be fully finished, reconciled, tied in a pretty red bow, and sent to you. There shouldn't be anything else. There can be some situations sometimes, and if a majority of the time everything is going really well with your bookkeeper or CPA and there's one issue, of course, try to sort it out with them. I'm not trying to steal anybody's clients. I'm just saying these are the things to look out for. Okay, what else should you be looking out for? Let's say you do get a copy of your P&L. You know what? I'm just going to check if we have any questions. Anybody have any questions in the chat? No. Good. I'm making lots of sense. Okay. So let's say you do get a copy of your P&L and balance sheet and you go to look at it. What are red flags you can easily see by looking at it? If you have negative numbers on your P&L, it's a red flag. It's an out point. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily wrong, but I would want to pull the string on that more. Like, let's say it's January 2023 and you got a refund against something that you bought in, November 2022. There might be a negative number and it would make sense that it's that way. But now we're in September, when your August bookkeeping is done, I can't really imagine any reasons why any negative numbers should exist on your P&L, except for, I'm going to take it back. In your income section on the top, let's say you offer clients discounts, that will show as negative income. Or let's say you gave a client a refund, that will show as negative against the income. So that will be negative. There could be negatives on the income section, but there shouldn't be anywhere else. Same with if you look at your balance sheet and there are negative numbers, there shouldn't be negative numbers on the balance sheet. There also shouldn't be, like, let's say you have your payroll taxes connected to your balance sheet, which you should. If there's a large balance of tax owed on your balance sheet that doesn't make sense to you, like it's more than like a month, then that's a red flag. The balance sheet should be accurately portraying the tax liability and the tax payments, whether it's sales tax or payroll taxes. It should be accurately portraying it. If there was an overpayment, it would show up as a negative. But if it says you owe $30,000 and you know that you only pay $5,000 in tax and payroll taxes per month, let's just say, because whatever, then there's something wrong. That means that your bookkeeper, or you, if you're doing this yourself, in which case probably hire a bookkeeper because this stuff gets complicated, is not doing it right, is not connecting the balance sheet to the payments and the liabilities correctly. So that's another thing to look out for. Liabilities that look way too big. It could be old loans. It could be old, liabilities that aren't updated, like payroll tax liabilities, like I said. But it shouldn't be that way. Everything on the balance sheet that you look at should make sense to you. You should be able to look at it and say, yeah, that is about how much I owe on that vehicle. Yeah, that is about how much I owe in payroll taxes for a month. That is the balance in my bank account. There's going to be some things on the bottom, like sometimes the equity section, it'll show owner's equity. And if your CPA doesn't go in and do the year-end adjustment, it will just continue to show forever and ever. So you can either look at the statement of cash flows, or you can click into it and see just for the year what it is. But it still should show, you should be able to see for the year to date what it is, and it should make sense. And that is another thing to look for that could be red flags. Just go look at your reports and see that it all makes sense. If you know that you've never paid for advertising in your life, and there is money in the advertising section of your P&L, then that is probably an error. It's a red flag. It doesn't mean that your bookkeeper is terrible or bad. It just might mean that they assumed something was advertising when it wasn't, when it was actually office expenses or rent, or I don't know, they made a wrong assumption, or they put something in the wrong place. So you should always be looking at those reports. I know that a lot of people don't, and they don't even look at it at all until the end of the year when the CPA looks at it. And that's up to you. I'm not your mama. I'm not going to tell you what you have to do, but I will recommend, as a business owner, having control over your money and finances and really taking a look at that P&L. I look at mine every couple of days. I run my company by knowing what's my income, what's accounts receivable, what's going to come in, what's my bills, what's going to come out, what has come out, can I afford this thing, can I afford to hire someone new, all by looking at my P&L. So literally, I live in my P&L. I update my bookkeeping for my company every couple of days, look at my P&L, because that is how I make decisions for my company. I have no idea how you guys who don't look at your P&Ls and don't know your numbers make decisions for your companies. You shoot from the hip, you're a pirate and your company is still succeeding and doing well. And I admire you for being a pirate and shooting from the hip. I can't do it. I have to look at numbers. I have to have numbers to make decisions. And I think that that is the best way to do it, because then you know what you're investing in. As a business owner, every dollar you spend is an investment in your company. And will it get you more money in? You're spending beans out, let's say, to get beans in. So if you're spending money and unknowing what you're spending money on, whether you have enough money to spend it, whether it's going to give you a good return, you may not be fully taking responsibility for your finances. So make sure you have a bookkeeper. Make sure you're looking at the reports. Make sure the reports make sense. There's a lot of great bookkeepers out there in the world, so make sure you have good communication with them so that the reports make sense to you. And if you don't have a good bookkeeper, or you're not sure if you have a good bookkeeper, reach out to me. I will do a review on your books and let you know. If you don't know what you're looking at, literally, I will do a review. I will charge you. I'm not doing it for free, but it'll take an hour or two. I'll go through your books and I'll give you an analysis, and I'll tell you if the books are in good shape or not, if you're worried about it. If you are not worried about it and you think maybe just your bookkeeper got real busy because they're trying to close out 2021 for all their clients, which happens because here we are right now, fine. Just send them an email, be patient, shoot them a message. Obviously people are people, but if you're not getting reports, you're not getting communication, you can't even look at your reports, or if you do look in your books, nothing makes sense, reach out to your bookkeeper and ask for a meeting, ask to review it with them. If they won't or can't or don't get back to you, it might be time for a new bookkeeper. There's great bookkeepers out there, but unfortunately, there's also bookkeepers who just don't know what they're doing and need some more training. Bookkeeping is relatively simple. 75% of the transactions are real simple. And then there's that 25% that gets a little complicated, that if you don't know what you're doing, you can really mess up books. Usually it's business owners who mess up their own books, but I've seen bad books done by bookkeepers who just weren't trained enough yet. And maybe they would be a great bookkeeper if they had, a mentor or someone helping them, someone they could ask questions to, but they don't always have that person. So that's what we run into. And I'm actually making a bookkeeping class. I know I've talked about it a few times. I got to get going on it, but that is the plan to have a bookkeeping class to help out people in my field because I think that there should be more really good bookkeepers. And okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Maya@solvencynow.com. You can message me on Facebook under Maya Weinreb or on Solvency Now, Instagram under Maya Weinreb, or Solvency Now Bookkeeping, probably Solvency Now Bookkeeping, LinkedIn under Maya Weinreb. I am everywhere. You can go to my website, solvencynow.com. We're making a new website. It's going to be pretty cool. Check out my TikTok page, Solvency Now Bookkeeping. We're doing tips and quotes and all kinds of cool stuff. So I really try to help people as much as I can. If you have any questions, you can even comment here. We will help you. If you're looking for a CPA, I don't know if anyone's accepting more right this second, but you can, I can give you some referrals and you can reach out to them and check, or else, like I said, file with what you've got and then file an amendment. And if you haven't started your bookkeeping yet for 2022, come now because it's almost the end of the year. I know it's summer still, I think, unless we had the last day of summer and I wasn't looking, but the end of the year is literally around the corner and you want to get that bookkeeping caught up. You want to know your numbers. You want to be able to plan for any eventualities, and you need bookkeeping. You need a P&L to do that. And for tax planning, if you have not done your tax planning yet for 2022 or for 2023, now is the time for tax planning. Of course, you're going to need a P&L. You're going to need a balance sheet. They're going to ask for that first, but now is the time to do that, because if you come to me in January, February, March, April 2023 asking me how you can save money on taxes for 2022, there's not much left that you can do at that point. So you really, really, really want to do it now so you can make plans for 2022. How do you legally save as much money as possible on taxes? How do you legally save or spend the least amount of money possible on taxes? We do not want to overpay the IRS. We want to pay them the exact right amount of money, which is as little as possible as we can possibly pay them. That's still legal. So let's do that. Let's do the tax planning. You need bookkeeping for that. If you have any questions, if there's anything I can help you with, reach out to me. Whether you're a small company, you need a consultation or just a bookkeeping review, or whether you just decided that you no longer have time to do your own bookkeeping and you need to turn it over to somebody, we are here to help. We just hired 2 new bookkeepers. So we are gearing up to get ready for the end of the year and to be able to help you guys. Okay, good. Again, so solvencynow.com, maya@solvencynow.com, or you can message me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, comment here. I will help you. All right, I'm going to check one more time. Does anybody have any questions? And I don't see any questions. Good. Well, I hope that I was able to be helpful and could kind of give you guys what to look out for, whether you have bookkeeping or not. If you are trying to do your own bookkeeping and you're not a trained bookkeeper, again, reach out to me. I'll do a consultation. I'll teach you QuickBooks, but I'll teach you QuickBooks only what you need for your company, for your flows for your company. You might not need to know everything about QuickBooks. You probably don't, but maybe you need to know how to enter certain transactions, how to enter payroll. I can help you on that as well. So reach out for a consultation. I know I'm saying reach out a lot. Reach out and touch someone. But I really am here to help. My purpose is to help business owners succeed. And that's what I want. I think that's what's best for everyone. It's best for the economy. It's best for you. It's best for your family. And that's what I want for you. So if you need any help, do let me know. And again, this is the Bottom Line Live. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you next week where I talk just as fast about more bookkeeping subjects that you need to know about. All right, good night. Thank you for coming.